I set a goal to make $10,000 from poker and content creation and show you guys every step along the way. So it's the last week of January, we're getting closer, but we're not quite there yet. Let's get to work.
I buy in for $800 on the 5-5-10 tables, and I pick up Jack 10 of diamonds on the button. The hijack opens to $30, and a lot of people might flat call here, but I like to choose the more aggressive option. I 3-bet to $90. This way, my range is perceived as very strong, I can rep a lot of strong hands after the flop, and I have a chance of taking it down right now. Well, this time my opponent just folds, and I take down a free 50 bucks. All right, next hand, Queen 10 of clubs in the cutoff. This time action folds to me and I open to $35. Only the straddle calls. We're heads up to a flop of Jack 8 deuce rainbow. Straddle checks. I have a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw, but this flop is actually better for his range than mine. He's gonna have a lot of middling cards that could definitely connect here. So I check back and we're off to a turn which comes the 3 of clubs. Very nice turn. Now I have a flush draw to go along with my straight draw. My opponent bets $80, sizable bet, but I'm definitely not folding this hand. I make the call and the river is a queen. He slows down and checks. I think he'd continue betting with 2 pair or better, so I think it's very likely he has a hand like just a jack. I'm almost certain I have the best hand, so I'm going for value. I bet $140. He thinks about it, then makes the call. I show my cards and they're good. Then I get King Jack in the cutoff, the under the gun limps, the hijack raises to $40. It's on me. I don't love flatting. That's just gonna invite the limper in, maybe the blinds too. So instead, I 3-bet to $120. Everyone ends up folding, good result. And then, pocket queens on the button. The cutoff opens to $30, and here we go. Here is the time. I've been 3-betting a lot, so hopefully this is the time they don't believe me. I 3-bet to $90, but then something surprising happens. One of the tighter players cold calls me from the small blind. We end up going heads up to a flop of ace 4-4. You hate seeing an ace on the flop when you have queens. You really hate to see it, but in a 3-bet pot, I'm gonna have some really strong hands, some really strong aces, so I'm gonna c-bet with pretty much my entire range here. I bet $75 and my opponent makes the call. Turn is an 8, he checks to me. I feel like he either has an ace or a hand like 9s, 10s, jacks. Either way, I'm not looking to inflate this pot. I slow down and check, and the river is a jack. He checks. I'm happy he checked, but I'm still just gonna take my showdown value. I check back and he shows pocket 10s, so I win. And as I'm collecting my chips, it's the dream scenario. Wah, wah, wah! Pocket kings, the very next hand. Hijack opens to 30. I 3-bet to 90, but then the straddle cold 4-bets to $410, and I start thinking, is this just aces? And I
folded kings.
I folded kings. I folded kings!
Just kidding. I don't think I could ever fold kings. I go all in for $1,125. He makes the call. He wants to run it twice. Let's do it. First board, set right away. Improved to full house. Second board, not looking great. I show my cards. Don't have ace king. Don't have ace king. Don't have ace king. They muck. Come on, let's go, big pot. Woo! Let's keep it going. I pick up pocket 9s in the big blind. The under the gun opens to $30. The cutoff calls, button calls. I am in a predicament. If the original raiser was later in position like the hijack or cutoff, I would be 3-betting this, but because the under the gun opened, I'm gonna take the set mine approach and just call. The straddle calls too. We're 5 ways to a flop of 6 deuce deuce rainbow. I decided to go for the unorthodox play and just lead out while I have my overpair. I bet $70. There's a good chance I have the best hand right now, but if the flop checks through, my 9s could easily be beaten on the turn. I hope to just take it down, but that's not what happens. The straddle calls the $70, which is concerning. The under the gun raises to $170, very concerning. He almost certainly has a better overpair than me. Then the button calls. Dude, it is really spooky. I really don't know how so many people are interested in a deuce deuce 6 rainbow flop. It's only 100 more for a pot that will be over $800, but still, I can't imagine a world in which I'm good. I fold, And good thing I did, because the straddle shoves for $1,300. Under the gun is pained, but he ends up folding. The button calls. Under the gun says he folded jacks. The straddle has queen deuce for trips, and the button wins with pocket sixes for a flopped full house. So I'm definitely glad I got out of the way early. Next up, pocket eights, the lucky snowmen in the small blind. The button opens to $30. From the button, he should be opening very wide, so I'm going for that 3-bet. I make it $120, and he makes the call. Heads up to a flop of king, king, 4, 2 clubs. On a paired board, I'm gonna c-bet a lot at a small sizing. I bet $75, and he calls. Turn is another king. I improve to a full house, but there aren't a ton of hands to get value from, so I just check for showdown. He does not check. He bets $100. Now, let's think what he could have. A king? He opened from the button, I 3-bet, and he just called. I think in this configuration, he would have 4-bet ace-king, so I rule that out. He could have king-queen, king-jack, king-10 suited maybe, but there is only one king left in the deck, so that cuts down on a lot of combinations. I think he would have 4-bet most pocket pairs bigger than mine, so I'm safe from those as well, except for 9s and maybe 10s. He could also be making a move, because I slowed down and checked, so I can't fold yet, I call. The river is a 9. Again, I don't think betting accomplishes anything. All worse hands fold, all better hands call, so I check it over to him. And he bets $250. It's not a fun place to be. He could have a king, but could he have a bluff? He could have a bluff. One-time bluff. I pray and make the call. And of course he has, nope, he says good call. I show my cards and they are good. Come on, baby. Then I pick up jack queen in the hijack. I open to $35 and get called by the straddle. Heads up to a flop of ace king 10. Oh my God. Yeah, that'll do. I start off with a c-bet of $25, to which my opponent raises to $120. Okay, I'm in position. I don't want to scare him away. I just call. Turn is a 6, and he goes all in for $400. Now, I don't know if you've ever been shoved on when you have the nuts, but it feels a little something like... All right, we make the call. River comes an ace. He shows king 10, and we take it down. All right, last hand of the vlog. I have pocket 10s in the straddle. The cutoff opens to $30. The button calls the $30, and then the big blind 3-bets to $150. Now, late position open, late position call. This seems like it would be a good spot for a squeeze from the big blind, so I think their range is still relatively wide, and here we go. If I think they could be wide, I attack. I 4-bet to $400. Folds back to the big blind. He's thinking about it, but then goes all in for $1,300. And my hand is just not good. Against a 5-bet, I'm pretty crushed. So I just fold. And soon after that, I rack up and call it a night. So where am I in my 10K goal for January? It looks like it's all coming down to my last day of poker.